Hi, this is Jackson Robert Scott, and you're listening to Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
They've conquered the big screen. Now, get ready for the spin-off sure to send chills down your spine. It's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin in Don't Go Out There, the series.
Welcome back, everybody, to DGOT, the series. We really appreciate y'all listening. We hope y'all have been enjoying these series reviews. I know we have. It's been a lot of fun. Just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We are starting a brand new miniseries this week. This is Brother Dustin's pick. Dustin, you want to announce what your pick is and why you picked it?
Yeah, so when we were getting close to wrapping up The Last of Us Season 1, I was looking at the calendar trying to decide what to do, and I was like, you know what? There's a show coming out in a couple weeks that I think it'd be cool if we did in real time, but that's going to give us 2 weeks in between with nothing. So we've talked about doing 1990s It miniseries, but it was like none of us really wanted to do it as a movie review because it's so long. I mean, it's 3 hours. And so I was like, if we split it up into 2 parts, like a miniseries, that would be perfect for this. So that's what I picked, 1990s It. I hadn't seen this movie in a really long time, like a really long time. I've got it on Blu-ray. It's one of those I've got just because it's I feel like you need to have it if you collect, but I just never pop it in. And so this was my first time rewatching it in many years, and it holds up, man. I think it's probably the best Stephen King adaptation of that era. Misery's up there. It's really good. The Shining is before this, but it's really good. There's some good ones, and that we'll say 85 to 95, those 10 years, this might be the best. It's really good to me. So I'm glad we're knocking it out finally.
I had not seen the It miniseries. This was a cover that I remember seeing in my local video store many times. That cover, Pennywise on the front, it stuck out a lot, but I just had never seen it. So I'm really glad you picked it, Dustin. And I'm just going to throw this out there as well. Whenever that Camp Crystal Lake show from A24 comes out, I think we should do that one live as well, wherever it shows. So I think that will be really fun to do live as well, week by week. But back to the It miniseries. I said this at the end of my notes for the first part that we're doing is it didn't set me on fire, but I don't hate it either. I think it's just fine. And I have a very unique, it's probably not very unique. I'm sure a lot of people might have seen It Chapter 1 from 2017 and It Chapter 2 from 2019 before seeing this. So I don't think it's fair to compare them the entire time, but I did. But I just enjoy the newer movies better. I just think they do a lot of things better. I think Tim Curry is great as Pennywise in the first half that we were doing. But I just think that a lot of the acting from the others just isn't that great. But that's just my opinion. And I think it's really cool that Tommy Lee Wallace directed it as well. He's from, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, did a lot of directing and writing back in the 80s. So I think that's cool as well. But I do got to disagree. I don't think this is Stephen King's best from that time. I do think Misery is better. And I'd probably pick Pet Sematary over this as well, just because I really like Pet Sematary as well.
I like Pet Sematary a lot too, but as far as quality goes, man, there was some bad acting and dialogue in that one that I don't think there's as much.
There's a nostalgia bit there for me too. Gage was really creepy, and what's his name? Judd. He was really creepy. The church, the cat. It's just I don't know. There's just a lot more nostalgia there, but I can understand if you like it better than that one. I get that for sure. Tim Curry is just really good as Pennywise too. I really like his performance.
And it's not really shocking that you're not set on fire by this one because it came out in '90. That's the tail end of the '80s. Nico hates the '80s. I get it.
I mean, you should have just stuck with the bit that I don't like the '90s more. I really have been a lot more vocal about disliking the horror from the '90s.
You don't like the '80s, '90s,
That's
'70s.
That's true.
Only thing you like is 2024, 2025, and the 1930s for some reason.
And then 2006.
Hey, don't forget 2022. Don't forget 2022.
Yeah, there's also like a 2006 to 2007 run in there. You like those movies too? Saw and anything like
years,
that.
Yeah.
Hey, don't hate me because you ain't me. I'm just kidding. But overall, back to the It miniseries. I thought this first half was just fine. Like, I did not hate it by any means, but I just thought it was okay. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so I hadn't seen it in a long time, just because I'd more recently seen the two movies that came out, like you've already referenced, Nico. So it was nice to revisit it. Now, again, I didn't watch it as a kid because, like I've explained a million times on this show, I was a massive pussy, and I wouldn't have watched something like that as a kid at that time. But I did watch it later on, young teen or whatever, and I really enjoyed it. Now, to me, this has – I hate even comparing it to the more recent movies because they are same but different. Like, they really are. And, it being a miniseries for TV, you couldn't show as much. It couldn't take on as dark of a tone. So this one's more whimsical, for lack of a better term. Still creepy, still scary. And, Curry's performance as Pennywise is fantastic. Like, it is a classic horror performance, one of the tippy top, just scary as shit. And we're going to talk about this when we do part 2, and I've already talked about this when we did the movies, but I love part 1 here, and I love the first new movie. I went ahead and watched ahead for the second half of this movie/miniseries, and honestly, there's no TV series, there's no movie that could do it justice, because I just think the second half of Stephen King's writing is bad for this whole concept. Like, I don't think he does a good job with finishing off this story. It's weird. It's clunky. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And that's a Stephen King problem, not a, Tommy Lee Wallace problem or anybody like that worked on the movie. So all in all, I think this is really, really good. I think what I like about it a lot is the group of kids. This feels like, Stand By Me with a clown, right? Like, I really liked that feeling of the Losers Club and how they come together and telling that story. And this movie has another big positive for it, which is interweaving the adult characters with the kid characters. I like that it takes the time to do that early on. I think that's a major positive for it, as opposed to the movie where we don't get to see their adult version until the second movie because obviously it wasn't cast and didn't officially get signed off on being made and all that stuff, which I think was a mistake, right? Like, I think just generally speaking, I would have done that with the movies as well because I really like that here. And so I think it's fun. It's scary. Is it as scary as the movie to me? No, just because I like that darker Pennywise take that Skarsgård gives, but can't knock Tim Curry and his performance because it is so damn classic. And he is legitimately – this is a top horror character, and I'm pretty sure when we did our March Madness bracket, I just included Pennywise, and I remember there being some talk about which one or whatever. Obviously, I was talking about Skarsgård, but after rewatching this, this Pennywise could fucking go pretty far in the March Madness bracket too. So all in all, was excited that you picked a Dustin, 1, because this part was under 90 minutes, and that makes me happy, as you know, and 2, because it was nice to revisit it as well.
That March Madness bracket, I still can't get over Satan lost. Like, come on. Anyway.
Okay, but yes,
there was some collusion in that.
March Madness has upsets, right? Like, I mean, that is the whole basis of March Madness is the Cinderella story.
Satan hasn't been upset since he was cast out of heaven. Like, that's an upset that doesn't happen.
Even Alabama loses games in football, brother. Nick Saban left, So maybe
right.
Satan's
August
getting lazy in his old
year.
age.
Let's go ahead and get started since I'm doing this scene by scene. And as always, Lord, bear me strength. So we open with the most 1990 title card and opening credits you'll ever see. And on the other side of it, we see Lori Ann riding a tricycle down a sidewalk, singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider, and her mother telling her to hurry up because it's about to storm. The little girl stops to pick up a doll on the sidewalk and hears laughter coming from the clothes on the clothesline, and we see Pennywise, the clown, in the middle of it. Her mom comes back outside and shrieks in horror, and next we see a gurney being loaded into the back of an ambulance. We learn from Mike that she's the sixth missing kid or dead kid recently in Derry, and the chief doesn't want him nosing around in police business. Mike picks up a picture off the ground, and his eyes got wide. It's Georgie, and his picture shouldn't have been there. Over in jolly old England, we see Billy working on a book that he's writing, and his wife is hounding him for spending so much time on it. Mike calls Bill, and we get a flashback of them as kids, and Mike tells Bill it's back and that he found a photo of George. Bill tells his wife about it, or Bill tells his wife it was the wrong number, and goes back to his office. We flash back to their childhood, and Bill gives Georgie a paper boat that he made. Georgie goes down the basement to grab the sealant for the boat, and when they're done coating it, Georgie heads out into the rain to set sail. The boat goes down into a drain where Pennywise is lurking and offers Georgie a balloon. Pennywise lures Georgie closer with his lost paper boat. He tells Georgie there's all kinds of surprises in balloons down there. They float, and when he's down there, he'll float too. Georgie reaches for his boat, and Pennywise grabs him, and the next thing we see is a funeral. Back at home, Bill pulls out a family photo album, and the picture of Georgie that adult Mike found winks at him and then starts bleeding. His parents don't seem to notice all the blood all over, and his dad tells him he doesn't want him coming in Georgie's room anymore. That's the open. What'd you guys think?
So, growing up, or I won't say growing up, I just, as I first started to consume this miniseries, I almost forget that it's a miniseries, and how it was originally presented. It reminds me of that Jackson Family movie, where that was 5 hours long or so, I thought. Turns out it was a miniseries. Same thing with the Temptations movie. So that's how it was always presented. So yes, it is a little bit of a miniseries. I thought that, again, upon rewatch, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not a 3-hour movie, although that's typically how I would have consumed it in the past. Now, early on here, one of the negatives that I have, and it's not anybody's fault, it's just early 90s television. So you couldn't hardly show anything, right? So, some of the gore and fun stuff that we get in the, retelling in the movies, you just can't get that here. So you're kind of relying on theater of the mind, which isn't always a bad thing, right? I mean, again, I like sometimes leaving the kill up to my imagination, but I think with this particular story, it does work to just be able to visualize, what happens here. And this, this scene is creepy, this tricycle ride, but I think the movie clears it because you can actually see what's going on. I will say, like I mentioned already, getting them as adults is awesome, though. Like, I like early on connecting those two together instead of just leaving it for part two. I like it a lot, and I think it's a great creative choice. And I believe that's not true. I read some of the book It in the past. And so I thought I'd read the whole thing. Turns out I had not. But that's a different story for a different day. But from what I remember, they tie it in early on in the book as well. And it's interesting that we're coming off of the 80s when they do this, miniseries. So his childhood is back in the, 50s, 60s. In the movie we get, the childhood is supposed to be in the 80s, which I think is kind of fun. It's kind of, no matter how many times, and I know Dustin's going to get excited about this, inevitably in 30 to 40 years when they remake it again, they'll be able to, tell that same story and just have, their childhood be in the 2020s, and it'll be the exact same thing. That I know Dustin's ready for another adaptation of something. What?
No, if they wait 30 to 40 years, I'm all for it. I'll either be dead or in diapers by then, so that's fine.
Man said he's going to be in Depends. I like it. Curry is great in this open. He's really, really good. Sorry if you heard that, but my work phone is ringing. He's great in this open. It's not as eerie or scary for me as, that Skarsgård performance, we all float down here. I will say this, scene with Georgie is just scarier. I won't say more effective, because this is effective in a different way, especially for the time and the kind of restraints they had. I can imagine seeing this as a little kid and having fucking terrifying nightmares about Pennywise the Clown. So Curry definitely knocks this role out of the park. I will say this blood photo thing, this transition is a really cool shot. I love that. Last thing, the actor that plays Kid Bill looks like an older version of Ralphie from A Christmas Story to me. I can't unsee it now that I've seen it. It's almost identical, and I'm like, man, Ralphie's had a tough go. Tried to shoot his eye out, got scarred by a fucking clown, and later childhood, he's had a tough time.
The funny thing about that is that he is in probably my favorite Chuck Norris movie where he plays Barry. It's called Sidekicks. Dude, that movie is not good, but I loved it as a kid.
But that's your favorite Chuck Norris movie?
Dude, yeah, I mean, come on. Is there really a quote-unquote good Chuck Norris movie?
Yeah,
But when I was watching this one, when I was rewatching it, doing my notes, I was like, man, he looks familiar because, like I said, it had been years since I saw this. I was like, wait a minute, he was in Sidekicks, and he was.
That sounds like a movie that they would play after Raw on Monday night in 1999. Sidekicks.
Bro, you should go watch it. Also, he passed away in 2003, by the way.
Oh, shit. Okay.
The kid that played, he took his own life in 2003 at 27 years old. That's tragic.
Damn.
Well, I guess I'll follow up that dark news with my notes.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. R.I.P. That is sad, though. I already said this, but starting off my notes with something that will shock literally nobody if you've listened to this show more than once. I hadn't seen this until this review. I'm scared I won't have the proper viewing experience seeing the 2017 and 2019 It Chapter 1 and 2 before this. Based off that first lightning strike, my hopes aren't high for the effects going forward. I think some of the effects are okay. Some of them are not good, though. Pennywise amongst the hanging laundry was instantly creepy. I have no doubts that Tim Curry will deliver a great performance. Spooky that the pedals on the tricycle kept spinning as Lori Ann's mom finds her corpse. I did like that quite a bit. I love anyone who says terribly, like terribly, so I'm a Mike fan already. Bill loves work too much. Ain't no way I'm working over eating a hot dinner with my wife. Like, you're losing recipes, brother. Great facial reaction from Bill hearing it's Mike from Derry. I love that. I will always be a fan of camera shots that's looking up from the basement, up the basement steps. Always so creepy. I love that. Georgie is adorable playing outside, but I definitely like the atmosphere of It Chapter 1 better. It was darker. The camera work was better. I don't know that. But then again, that opening scene to It Chapter 1 is one of the best of all time to me. Pennywise isn't as scary looking, but I think he's very creepy. And I think it was Dead Meat who said it, but he just looks more like a realistic clown, so that adds to the creepy factor. These kids are so damn dumb, though, respectfully. The kid believes there's a whole-ass carnival in the sewers. Give me a break, man. The switch Tim Curry did as Pennywise to his horrifying face was good. And I thought the fangs, his teeth looked really good, too. But I still prefer the remake opening over this. Valid response by Bill. I'd have tossed that picture book as well if I saw Georgie winking at me. And why aren't the parents freaking out more? They don't see the blood flowing from this book? Like, give me a break. This is the last thing I got, Dustin. I thought it was a solid opening to a classic show movie, but I just didn't love like Bill's goofy hand-to-face look as the set of scenes ended. But I did think the opening was pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of what you're hating is just a sign of the times when it was made, so it checks out. All right, next set of scenes.
Hey, just do the scene by scene, pal. Don't worry about what I'm saying.
We get back to adult Bill, and he says he forgot and tells his wife about the call from Mike and that he forgot about his brother's death. He makes her promise that she'll stay in England, and he heads out. New York City. We see a white limo park, and a drunk Ben drops his architect award, and he couldn't care less. He heads inside with his date, and he gets a call from Mike, who tells him it's back, and Ben agrees to come. Ben has flashbacks of his time as a fat youth and Henry bullying him, including a death threat. That kid would be arrested on the spot in today's world. Crazy. The teacher tells the class about a 7 p.m. town curfew, and he has a nice moment with Beverly after school. Get it, fatty? On his way home, Henry and his friends grab him, and Henry fights back and runs off through the woods. He hides in a drainage pipe, and there's no way they didn't see him. But they turn their attention to Bill and Eddie before finally leaving. Bill runs to get Eddie's inhaler, and Ben bonds with Eddie while he's gone. When he gets back, they invite Ben back tomorrow to help them build a dam. Back at his house, Ben's cousin grabs a poem he's writing and mocks him. So Ben does the only reasonable thing and starts beating him up. When he gets in trouble for it, he runs away on his bike. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, to piggyback off of something Nico said in his last notes, which was, man, I am not skipping this dinner with my honestly, hot wife, man. Are you kidding me? She's hot as hell. You should talk to her. She's trying to help you. Bill finally finds a good woman and pushes her away. And, we know on this show, especially Dustin, how rare that is to find one of those women that are good. Don't say no women are good. We have listeners. Shout out to our female listeners.
They're the only good ones. And my
Thank
mom.
you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, my mom's all right.
And y'all's too.
All the moms. Well, not all the moms.
Yeah.
But anyway, I forget that this cast is so stacked, right? John Ritter playing adult Ben. It's weird. It seems kind of weird for him to be this young, right? Because honestly, in my mind, it's Three's Company, takes a long break, and now he's like sitcom dad, and he's the mall manager in Bad Santa, which is, to me, his funniest fucking role, to be honest. Love John Ritter in that movie. But it was weird to kind of see him here. I kind of forgot he was a part of this. And, the crazy thing is, Ben isn't even fat here, man. Like, if they wanted a fat kid in the 90s, they could have casted me, okay? I was a fat ass. This kid was kind of solid, man. Put his ass at left tackle. He'd be all right. But, even in my day, at this age that they're at, a lot of women dug the funny fat kid, man. I've been the funny fat kid. It kind of works out for you sometimes, as long as you're funny and you don't take yourself too seriously or too emotional. Those are my advice to all you fat kids listening out there. I'm sure there's like none of you. Now, later on in school, like high school and stuff, you might want to, try to get into decent shape. But anyway, I will say a knife pulled on a kid. This is, man, what kind of Grease spinoff is this? That was fucking weird. Jesus Christ, man, that's some scary shit. Tell Kanicki to get, back to school, man. This is ridiculous. Anyway, they do a really good job, and this is taking place in the 90s. They do a really good job making this feel like this is an earlier time period. I really like this Losers Club universe that we're living in. I think they do a great job. Honestly, the man is out here stuttering worse than me. Kind of sucks for him because I've already stuttered once on the show, and I didn't do near as bad as he did. Last thing I have here, poems are fine, but I can't imagine Ben's poem going super well for him in the time period. I know that was like the least masculine thing in the world. I need Ben to toughen up. I know he's had a lot happen to him in his young life, but come on, man, we got to get it together. Stick that man at center. Have him learn how to hike. Stick a hand out. He's got a scholarship waiting for him. Come on, man.
Yeah, stiff acting between adult Bill and Audra and the almost cry Bill did I thought was laughable. Audra is portrayed by the great Olivia Hussey, the star of 1974's Black Christmas, a film I'm surprised we haven't covered yet. I know we talked about it last year or the year before, but we just want to take a little break. But that's a classic. I'm surprised we haven't covered it yet. John Ritter is always nice to see on screen. Second appearance on our program with Bride of Chucky being his first. Premature hot take, and I disagree with you, Mike, but I'm already not a fan of the adult version of the kids being shown this early. The teacher here looks very similar to Hillary Clinton, one of Dustin's crushes, doesn't she?
Whoa. All right. The out of context, that's wild. And I'm not giving context because I told you that in confidence.
Oh, shit. Cut that.
No, you can leave it. That's fine. But
No, leave
like
it in.
that.
Leave it in. He thinks Young Hill Dog is a smoke show. Leave it in. Leave it in.
Young Hill Dog was.
Hill Dog.
That just went off the rails. Kids are mean. No need to make fun of this kid's weight. Good on Miss Clinton for giving him punishment. Unreal that Henry is mad at the fat kid for getting him in trouble when he's the one who chose to be a bully. Like, what are we doing here? And why are Henry and these other bullies so pressed on Ben? Is being a little chubby that offensive? The scenic views are beautiful. Most of the film was shot in Vancouver, which, to my surprise, and I'll keep calling it a film, but it's a fucking TV miniseries, so I apologize for that. Burping at another man, I think that's nasty work. Like, get a life, man. What's wrong with you? And I have to ask, are these kids the same age? Because Ben looks so much bigger and older than Billy and Eddie. Eddie is diabolical, getting mad. Bill stutters, acting like he can help it. Like, what the hell, man? Like, we don't give Mike any grief over it. And the last thing I got is Ben. Ben's I hate it here was funny as hell. Acting not been that great, but I'm laughing at it.
All right. Ben walks into the woods and hears his dad's voice calling out for him. He can't believe his eyes when he sees him, and his dad offers him a balloon. And his dad changes into Pennywise, and a skeleton comes out of the water and grabs him. And we cut back to adult Ben, who's struggling with the memories. At her job, Bev gets a call from Maine, but is told she can't take it right now, and she's nervous about a meeting with Nico's kinfolk. Later that night, Bev and her boyfriend/partner are in bed, and Bev gets a call from Mike. She's got to go to Maine, but gets a slap to the face for even suggesting it. And the psycho grabs a belt and says he's going to teach her a lesson. And she starts throwing stuff at him and hits him in the head and leaves. Good for her. Flashback to young Bev, and she gets in trouble for reading the poem from Ben. She runs out the front door, and lucky for her, her dad is prohibited from leaving the front porch. Man was one step behind her, but just stopped. That was odd. Ben saw Bev running away because he was creeping in the bushes like a true romantic, and he consoles Bev down the street. He invites Bev out on Saturday, and introduces her to his friends. We also meet two new friends, Richie, and Stan. The group gets to work on their dam. When they're done, Bev seems smitten by Bill and thinks he wrote her the poem, and Ben is bummed. Later in her bathroom, Bev hears voices calling out for her to help from the sink drain, and a balloon inflates through the drain and pops, sending blood everywhere. She gets her dad to check it out, and he seems oblivious to the blood, so she says she saw a spider. He tells her to get to bed, and Pennywise chuckles and says she'll die if she tries to fight, and she backs away and cowers in fear. We cut back to adult Bev in the backseat of her cab, and she is terrified. Go ahead.
Yeah, the start of this scene, I love it. Especially for TV. Curry is so in-your-face scary. It's ineffective with it. I think his performance, again, I can't give it enough flowers here. I think him and Skarsgård are just very different Pennywises. And so if you're not comparing the two, which I know is hard to do, but if you're just taking it on like this is one way to tell that story and that performance, and this is another way to tell that story and that performance, I think you can equally enjoy both for different reasons, which I do. Man, these two are dumb. You should never shit where you eat. Don't get in no relationship with a coworker there. Not how that works. And honestly, this guy's a fucking loser. The Bev. All right. I don't know what you're about to say.
I was just gonna say. Workplace relationships are no, but workplace extracurriculars, why not?
I knew that shit was coming. Bev is here with a fucking loser, though. Man, she should have taken that suitcase and hit him over the head like it was Steve Austin swinging a steel chair, not Hulk Hogan swinging a steel chair, because that sounds like ting. Steve Austin beat the fuck out of you with it. She should have taken that suitcase and done that shit. I do, like the through line that they keep from the book, and they keep it in the movie as well, which is Bev, that story for her being abused by assholes her whole life. She had a shitty dad. Now she has a shitty lover, boyfriend guy, whoever. And she just, from her dad to the men she chooses to date, they're all sucky people, and they all take advantage of her. And up to this point, she has been letting them. And I like that in both cases. Especially for the miniseries, she's strong enough to get away from them. She ran away from her dad later on, and she runs away from this fucking creep here. And so I like that strong Bev character that we get. I will say I will give the movie the nod as far as presenting her as a character. I think they do a better job there, but still think it's a good character here. A young Seth Green, and I really tried to rack my brain here. Is he the most famous person in this movie besides Curry? Or this miniseries? Probably, right? Like, if we're just thinking longevity, like, he's probably the most famous person to take part in this. Ritter, maybe. I still would say Seth Green.
I would say you're right. I was thinking maybe Ritter.
Yeah.
Ritter is probably better known by, like, our parents' generation.
Sure.
But present day, Seth Green by far.
This is going to sound terrible,
RIP
but
John Ritter.
John Ritter won't get to have that longevity, man. Like, there's no other way to say it. Now, he had I wasn't being a dick. It's just true. Like, he's no longer with us. And so, I think it's neck and neck there for sure. Definitely. And Curry as well has his own place, but he's kind of more in that horror. I know he's in Home Alone 2 and a few other things, but he's normally in our kind of like niche subgenre here. So anyway, I thought it was fun to see him. He's a little bit younger here. Most of the stuff I know him from is more adult oriented. So I thought this was interesting. And, poor Ben here, man. As someone who's been the fat kid that loses the girl to I don't think he's like tremendously better looking or anything, but whatever. It's unfortunate. One of the biggest differences from the movie is that there's just not that much blood, in this scene with Bev. It's every fucking way. there in the movie. Here in the sink, you just get a little bit of gurgle and a little bit of splatter. I don't know which one I like better. There's pros and cons to both. I believe when we did the movie, I said that it was overkill for some of that blood. I still kind of feel that way, I think, but I'd need to go back and rewatch it. It's been a while since. God, you realize we did it chapter 1 5 fucking years ago? Over 5 fucking years ago? That's insane. We've been at this a long time, guys. We're professionals by now. Great job keeping Pennywise hidden, throughout, really, sorry, let me reword that. Great job in this miniseries keeping Pennywise hidden throughout, minus a few shots, right? I think the scarcity of that clown makes it so effective when Curry does show up in full makeup. Her dad really fucking sucks, by the way. Last thing, complete opposite of Nico. I like how they keep coming back to these adult versions, and I wish they had mapped out the movies like this as well, because I do think it just kind of helps a narrative standpoint. Like, now I like the kid universe better. I think it's more interesting, but I think if you keep it tied back to that adult, them as adults, I think it does work really effectively.
No, I know where you're coming from. I just, like you mentioned, I just enjoyed the kids' camaraderie in the first one so much, and you actually got to know them a little bit. And I don't know, just bouncing back and forth. I just didn't care for it as much. But Pennywise posing as Ben's dad is diabolical. This soldier waving all awkwardly, I thought was pretty funny. I love the balloons and the voice change into Pennywise. I thought it was great. And Tim Curry's Pennywise, he's very creepy. Like, I give him a lot of props. John Ritter left a beautiful woman to go cry and relive a traumatic moment. We're losing recipes here, brother. Three's Company, you would not have done that. What are we doing? And is this a Chinese sweatshop, Bev? I am disgusted right now. I am infuriated, and I'm about to turn this movie off. This dude just smacked the hell out of Bev, and my Lord, that caught me off guard. Small criticism, but why doesn't she have any bruising or marks from being hit on her face? This argument shouldn't be funny, but Bev tossing those desk items with the goofy effects and the shaky acting, it lost me some. Maybe I'm being a little too critical, but I don't know. I just didn't love it. My man Ben dropping some old school Riz love letters. Maybe I should try that and see if it fares me any better in the future. And why is Dad tweaking? Poor Bev taking abuse from men her whole life, my Lord. Is Bev's pops on probation? Why'd he stop right at the porch when she took off running? Honestly, I didn't know Seth Green was in this. I did Dustin a favor. I didn't go look at the cast for once in my life. And I thought it was a nice surprise. But I thought he was kind of annoying right off rip. Finally getting to the kids' camaraderie scenes, I thought the acting was very mid between Bev and Ben. As they say, see ya. Am I being overly critical?
Yes.
Nice jump scare as blood shoots up the sink. Dad's reaction, though, is this serious? A spider and plumbing? Alrighty then. And the last thing I got for this set of scenes is, although I'm being critical, I can see why this would be scary if you were young seeing this for the first time. I can see that for sure.
All right. Nancy Reagan, Great Neck, New York. Eddie is scavenging the medicine cabinet and tells his mom he's got to go away for a while. He's shipping up to Boston. Flashback to their youth, and the group is at My Happy Place, the movie theater, where they're watching 1957's I Was a Teenage Werewolf with an unruly crowd. I would have left. When Eddie accidentally drops popcorn from the balcony on top of Henry and his goons, Richie dumps a soda on them for good measure, and they run out. They get to the woods, and they get creeped out by an old building they see. They walk Eddie home, where his concerned mom shoos the rest of the group away. At school, Eddie is scolded for not showering after phys ed, so he goes to wash up, and all the shower heads come on, and they extend out of the wall, trapping him and blasting him with hot water. Pennywise pops up through the drain and tells Eddie he'll like it down there and to bring his friends, and we see adult Eddie boards the train. We cut to a TV studio, and adult Richie gets a call from Mike. He's got to leave California to go to Maine for a couple of days. He gets a flashback of being scared by a werewolf and pukes before flashing back to the Loser Club or Lucky 7 or whatever you want to call them in the woods. They talk about what they want to do when they grow up, and right before Bill can tell them what happened in Georgie's room, a cop with a random Irish accent yells at them and tells them of another kid murder. He tells them to stay together, always. At school the next day, Richie and Stan are grabbed by Henry and his goons for the theater incident. Richie dumps his lunch tray on Henry and runs, and when Henry slips and falls, the whole cafeteria laughs, and Richie accidentally runs into the principal, who tells Richie to go get a mop and clean up the mess. While he searches for the janitor, we get a very Freddy Krueger-esque scene, and a werewolf scares the bejesus out of him, and then Pennywise drops in to say hello. He tells Richie he'll tell him how to float, and Richie makes a run for it. He runs back into the cafeteria, begging for help. but the little jerks just laughed at him instead. We get a cool transition from youth Richie lying down scared to adult Richie hugging the Porcelain Express saying, "Stop him." Go ahead.
So the joke that Eddie still lives with his mom, which again is in the book, the movies, and here, this mom may be the worst out of the two, between this and the movie. She's overbearing and awful. I can't stand this woman. Man, to steal one of Nico's quotes and the internet's, I guess, kids hanging out at the movie theater. We've lost recipes. I don't see that shit anymore. There's always adult supervision. Back in my day, I got dropped off, buddy. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, watch a movie. We'll be back in a few hours. That's how that shit went down. Also, Richie just pulled Bev by the hair. What the fuck? What the fuck is this shit? That was weird. Anyway, weird random spot for that. Brother, are there moms out there that are really this bad? This would be fucking awful. I'm not saying that I understand what's her name, Gypsy Rose, but I mean, this shit is fucking terrible, man. Anyway, just me personally, and it's not because I'm, Goldberg from The Longest Yard or anything. Never saw the big deal about showering in front of other people. If you see my dick and you stare at it, that's your problem, not my problem. I'm in here to clean my body, and you need to look over there, and I'll look over here. That's what this is about. I will say Curry is great though in this shower scene, and the effects on his face and makeup are done practically too. And I actually think they hold up. I think they look really, really good, and it is effective. Also, I would just not come back to Derry. Mike calls everyone and gets everyone to come back to Derry. I would have told this motherfucker no, personally. I like the line, I want to be a train conductor and see the world. Brother, if he only knew how much of the world he would get to see here in a couple years as a train conductor. Anyway, I know the police. And why did he have an Irish accent? Also, I have it in my notes. I know the police in those uniforms were hot as hell, man. I know they're in Derry, Indiana or whatever, but why the hell are we wearing the hottest fucking police outfits, man? Come on. It's funny how a lot of the cool kids in these older movies look like a bunch of fucking dorks, man. Not saying there was no separation when I went to school, but these kids, they're going out of their way to be bullies, just look like a bunch of fucking chumps to me. Last thing I have here, Nico, is this may be my least favorite Pennywise interaction of the first part, at least. It's not awful, but him being a werewolf trying to scare Richie really just doesn't do much for me. He takes on much scarier forms, much more creepy things, and I know that's playing on their biggest fears. I just kind of think it's a lame fear.
No, I'm with you. I thought it was weird too. I'm just letting our audience know I'm taking notes on my iPad, so I hope I'm at the right set of scenes, because when you watch something on my iPad, it doesn't tell you what time it is. It tells you how much you have left. So I was kind of fumbling. But Eddie's still living with his mom. Smart financial move. I would consider doing it right now if I could, to be honest with you. This movie theater scene is my nightmare, and Dustin mentioned it as well. The audience is being annoying, and Richie deserves his ass whooped. Pouring a whole soda on someone, that's crazy work. I would lay the smack down on this kid. Again, I ask, are these kids the same age? Because Seth Green as Mike looks way older than the rest of them. Not Mike, Richie. I don't know why I wrote Mike. I apologize. Bev kissing all the boys. She might be in the woods, but her home address is the streets. Might as well call her Lori Grimes. Sorry, I think going forward, I'm going to try and get a Shane Walsh reference into every review going forward.
You're lost.
I laughed at we're lost. I laughed at Eddie's mom telling the kids to go away. She doesn't want her kid having friends except for herself. And I think that's some weirdo behavior. And I'm going to touch on that in a couple weeks in presents. These moms who are obsessed with their sons, I don't know. That's just very weird. Either Eddie is a psycho or these showers are powered by an elite hot water tank. Who gets in the shower without letting it warm up first? That really annoyed me. The shower scene is creepy. I'd be terrified if I was this kid or any kid watching this. I thought the effects were terrible as Pennywise emerged from the shower, but Curry's acting made up for it. The eyes and teeth, again, I thought were very well done and genuinely scary. Richie is me when Brian and Dustin start talking Marvel or baseball. I am spaced out. Bill, can I ask you something? Ever since we did The Walking Dead Season 2, I always laugh when I hear any variation of you something. Thanks, Shane. Appreciate that. The losers thought they were in trouble, but officer told them to be all in it together. We love to see that. I think you should always be in it together, especially with your friends. Are these bullies idiots? Richie literally poured the drink on them. How didn't they see it? They were looking right at him doing it. What are we doing? Richie screaming for help. I hate to critique acting, but I thought it was awful. They all float down here. I thought that was very creepy line delivery. And the last thing I got, Dustin, is the whole lunchroom laughing at you. Absolute nightmare as a student. And the homies didn't even stand up and defend him. Like, I just felt bad for him in that moment.
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
Did you say something about it annoyed you that he didn't let the water warm up before you got in the shower?
Yes.
Hey, here's a fun fact that
Oh, my God.
I know you
go.
don't know. I don't even turn the hot water on anymore. I've only take cold showers. I have for about 6 months, 7 months. Cold showers only. It's refreshing. It's good for you.
Anyway. I've heard like cold water plunges are good for you. So, I mean, I feel you, but
yeah.
I mean,
dude, my showers are ice cold every time. I love it.
I take cold showers, but not to get clean, only to refresh. Start cold and then go hot to clean my body with. So a little bit of both there. You're welcome.
You know, it's a myth that hot water cleans better. But
I mean, I can believe that. It's just I just don't want cold water blasting on me. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say,
I also don't. I'm in and out of the shower in 4 minutes tops. Like I'm not in there to mess around. So,
all same. I mean, I'm bald. I mean, I can just scrub my head real quick.
Now we know that, you know, since women are from hell, they like their water hell hot. So I also don't take showers with women because no. Anyway, we see Mike popping a perk 30, and he looks at a picture of his childhood friends and narrates the moment. Lucky 7, whatever. It's the Losers Club. We cut to childhood Mike talking in front of the class, and no surprise, Henry and his goons are being goons. Mike mentions that over 250 settlers all vanished at once. After school, Henry steals Mike's photo album and calls him the N-word before attempting to light a firework and put it in Mike's pocket. Mike makes a run for it, and we see Bill and his friends talking about what's been going on with all of them. Mike leads Henry and his thugs right into the group, which turns out to be the best thing he could have done. We get another N-word from Henry, and Bill and crew starts pelting the bad guys with rocks, and an all-out brawl breaks out. The thugs make their escape, and Henry says that he'll kill them all. Mike sets up a camera and takes the picture we saw him looking at it as an adult. He shows them this photo album, and they see it. It's over 200 years old. The photo album comes alive, and one of the pictures becomes a video, and we see Pennywise doing flips in the street, and then he threatens to kill all the Loser Club, and his hand comes out of the picture, scaring the kids. They've got to do something, but they can't tell the adults because they grew up and they stopped believing. Bill gets bold and calls out Pennywise and says he wants to kill it. The group huddles up to call the play, and we cut back to adult Mike, and we see muddy footprints on the floor and a balloon beside him. Atlanta, Georgia. Adult Stan is reading the paper while his wife watches Perfect Strangers, and Mike calls him to tell him it's back in town. Stan tells his wife it was no one and heads upstairs to take a bath. Grown man, by the way, taking a bath. We cut back to the group as kids, and they're practicing their slingshot skills. I guess if it was good enough to take out Goliath, it might work on Pennywise. It starts to rain, and the group heads towards the creepy-looking sewer building. They stop to make sure they're all on the same page, and they're all in. They pass around Eddie's inhaler for extra courage, and I just hope he doesn't have an asthma attack because 6 people who don't need it take a puff. They head to the building, and the next set of scenes will conclude part 1.
Also, sharing shit like that in hindsight, since we lived through a pandemic, is not something I'm going to do. I won't even blow my own birthday candles out. I'll be waving that shit.
Or as Dale Gribble called it, the pandemic.
The pandemic. Yeah, that's a fucking great line. See, there's some good one-liners in that show. Anyway, so here's a fun fact about the character of Mike. Matt and Trey from South Park have mentioned that they actually slowly based that character or their character of Token/Tolkien, depending on your revisionist history, off of this character of being the only, quote, black friend of the group. And so I think that is a little bit of the inspiration for Matt and Trey. A fun fact. I used to watch the season DVDs back in the day when we couldn't afford cable, but we had the South Park season DVDs. And so I listened to the commentary a lot. And so that was mentioned in there. I forgot that this miniseries had this really bad racially charged stuff in it, right? Calling him boy, calling him the N-word, like not saying it's not addressed in the movie, but not like this. This is like slapping you across the face. And obviously for good reason, given the time they grew up in, it is a lot more prominent. So I completely get that. This stuff right here is something I wanted more from the movies with Henry. They should all gang up and beat the absolute shit out of Henry Bowers more, right? Like, let's beat the fuck out of this loser. This is the most losery cool kid I've ever seen in my life. And I liked it in this. They didn't give him some sad backstory, at least in part one anyway. Now, threatening him with a rock, smart as hell. That would get me to run away too, not going to lie. I love this moving picture of the old town. I think it's really cool, really awesome. And Curry is freaking great when he appears in the frame there. I think it's awesome. And I can't imagine being a kid and seeing this in 1990. I would have shat myself more than I already do now. Okay. It would not have been a good time for little Mikey. That's for sure. And I do think, kid Billy here, great emotional performance from Brandis. We already kind of touched on him. I think he gives a great kind of talk, speech, whatever you want to call it here. I think it's great. So, last thing, just like the movie, I feel like this kid stuff is much more interesting, right? And probably the nostalgia that we all have for being a kid, hanging out with your friends, doing fun things like that. Everything feels like a much bigger deal. No matter what it is, it feels like the biggest deal in the entire world, what you're doing right then at that moment. And so when you're able to kind of go back to that, I think it's kind of fun. Again, I like the callbacks to them as adults, but I feel like this kid universe, I want to stay in it now that we're in it.
Yeah, Mike looks so much older than the other adults. Bro is living a rough life in Derry right now. And like you mentioned, Mike, this was shown on TV, calling him boy and the hard ER. Good Lord. Like, I was like flabbergasted when I heard that. I was not expecting that. The least intimidating and effective barbed wire fence I've ever seen. 6 high school kids just jumped it, no problem. Like, what are we doing here? Go fix the damn fence. Another hard R N-word. Goodness. I was shocked they did it again. It's crazy they called in the Losers Club when the rest of the bullies, they're just a bunch of squares, if you ask me. None of them are any cool. They're not cool either. I died laughing seeing Mike just chilling while the others throwing the rocks. I don't know if y'all caught that or not, but I was laughing my ass off at that. The kids' reactions to being hit by rocks is sending me, especially while there's like Jurassic Park like score plays. And Henry needs to find God or see a therapist. Wanting to kill all these kids? For what reason, man? Like, you just this bad at home? Not going to lie, the pick they took I thought was pretty fire. Should have threw it on an album cover. Pennywise is scary again in this picture book scene. Very scary line delivery. Could have went without the hand popping out of the book. I didn't think that looked great, but overall I thought that little scene with him was very good. Older Mike's reaction to Pennywise, I'm sorry, it just wasn't very good, and I laughed more than anything. More Mike criticism, but his line delivery, even over the phone, isn't great to me. It felt very B-movie. I kind of feel bad for anyone who is cast as Stan. Your role in the film was be scared and go kill yourself in the bathtub. Hopefully he got paid good, but man, what a disappointing casting. Shout out Bev, a slingshotter from way back. And the last thing I got, heading into the last set of scenes, I'm very neutral. I don't hate this by any means, but I definitely don't love it either. Like, it's just fine.
Really quick.
The ending of
really quick, Dustin. I forgot my thing about Stan here, which is this man went from about to be getting laid to offing himself. That is one hell of a transition of a character. That should happen with a quickness. That's crazy. And sorry, but I had to mention that. I thought that was crazy. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying, brother. All right. Well, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that sometimes when you're married, that's the better option. So,
oh my God.
Just.
Oh, and when Nico, when you said got it that bad at home, all I can ever think of is Jimbo Fisher calling our punter debt. Y'all remember when he called him debt? Like, Jimbo, what are you gonna do about the punting situation? Anybody got debt? Anybody got problems at home? Called a young man debt. That shit was crazy. Anyway,
that was Beatty, right? Casey Beatty?
It was Beatty, national champion punter. The only weakness on the 2013 team was Casey Beatty, and he ended up being good 2 years later, though, for real.
Yeah. All right, here's the conclusion of part 1. Henry and his goons are spying on the Loser Club going into the sewer building, and Henry says they're not coming back up. Inside, our protagonists start their mission, and Henry lays out his plot. One of his goons goes off on his own, and we see some weird shots of something traveling below his feet with a bright light, eventually bringing him to his demise. As the Loser Club continues their journey, Stan is grabbed by Henry and the other ruffian. The group notices they're a man down, and before Stan's carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey, the light monster explodes through a pipe and sucks Henry's accomplice through it, butt first. Belch is regurgitated through the pipe, and his hair is white as snow. Stan rejoins his friends, and the light monster isn't far behind. It hovers over them, but strangely leaves them all unharmed. Fog enters the room now, and the loser club all holds hands to keep from getting separated. Georgie starts calling out for Bill, but Bev tells him it's not George, and then she hears her dad calling her to get home. Richie tells her there's nothing there, and a werewolf puts his paws on Richie's shoulders, but he reiterates there's nothing there. As Stan is reciting his Boy Scout's oath, Pennywise nabs him up and tells him to be afraid. The group says to kill Pennywise, but he says he's the immortal eater of children. Eddie hits him with some puffs of his inhaler, and as Pennywise's face is melting, Bev pelts him in the head via slingshot, opening a hole in his dome where light shoots out. Pennywise jumps and flips and tries to escape down a drain, but Bill grabs his hand and tries to pull him back up. Pennywise's hand turns into a weird monster arm, and he's gone. Pennywise screams, and the group says it's over. The kids head out, and Bill makes them all swear to him that if it isn't dead, they'll come back, which they all agree to, and they share a hug. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, so I love I'm not going to lie, I even put it in my notes here. When I was taking my notes, I had to pause the movie right here because I had explosive pre-workout shits. So I paused it and I kind of forgot where I was. So bear with me here, but I like these scenes of the setting down in the sewers, right? Like I think it creates a creepy, kind of fun atmosphere. I think they do. One of the rare things, I think they do a little bit better than the movie does. I kind of touched on that when we did our movie review. But like I mentioned, this also is where some of the story that Stephen King wrote kind of loses me a little bit. Right? I truly only think it's good stuff when Pennywise the clown is it, not the other entities and other shapes that it takes on. When we get these beings and orbs, I just don't care as much. I will say kid going through this tube didn't age well as far as effects, but made me laugh my fucking ass off. I thought that was awesome. A little bit of a cool effect on, the Doc Browning this kid's hair as it turns white. I thought that was fun. That's a Back to the Future reference, Nico. I like that we end up back to the gang and Pennywise, when he's playing on their biggest fears. To me, that is the part of it that I like is because I think that's the creepiest. That's the most relatable because everyone's had nightmares when they were kids. That's the scariest stuff. And so I think clown version of it is the best. And so the practical effects on Curry melting, I think looks a lot better than what they do in the movie with Skarsgård. He just looks like big marshmallow fluff. And I think this looks a lot better. I like that we vanquish him for now. I think this ending to this part is a little bit better than what the movie does. I haven't watched it in forever. I'm excited for part 2. I went ahead and watched part 2, and it's not as good as this is. But anyway, this version may not put as much emphasis on the kids as fleshed out characters, which is something Nico kind of talked about. But part of me kind of likes it. And I think the reason I do is because the group itself, the Losers Club, is a character itself. And I kind of like that take on it. Instead of fleshing out every little bit of every character, I like that we just kind of get to know them as a group of friends that kind of band together to take down the entity. So all in all, I thought I really, really enjoyed watching it this time around and had a lot of great things to say. Part 2, that'll be fun.
I want to piggyback real quick on what you said there about how you like that the kids aren't so fleshed out. The reason I like that is because the kids themselves, as when they're adults, they don't even remember every detail.
Correct.
So it makes sense that we wouldn't see every detail. Like,
sure,
they're putting pieces together as these memories come fleshing back, and I kind of appreciate that more.
Sure.
That's fair. And to be fair, like, this show is significantly shorter. I mean, the 2 movies have over 2.5 more hours to do stuff with, too, so that's really not fair. I mean, that can be a good thing or a bad thing, because I know we all complained in It Chapter 2 of, like, doing all the adult scenes. Like, it just took forever to, like, show their scare scenes. So, yeah, it's a slippery slope for sure. I really don't get why these bullies are so obsessed. They must have gotten no hugs at home from their parents. This crawling shot on the pipes with the light doesn't do it for me. Doesn't look good, but I'm glad the bully Patrick got finally. Belch being sucked into the pipe, I thought was another terrible looking effect. I mean, I know it's 1990, but Jesus. This sewer scene has been very underwhelming and a huge disappointment so far. Bad effects, lighting, sound, not enough Pennywise the Clown so far. Bev immediately knew it wasn't Georgie, but thought it was her dad immediately. These kids are dumb as hell. Richie standing on business, not scared of the werewolf. We love to see that. But I will agree with Mike. The werewolf just isn't as cool either. And no wonder Stanley was so scared in the future. Pennywise took it personal with his ass. Bev sees her shitty dad while Stanley gets shoved into the wall by the clown himself. This isn't fair at all, if you ask me. The effects on Pennywise pulling his face off looked good, but I didn't think the light beaming out of his head was all that great. But Pennywise ascending below, I thought that looked bad as well. Like, I'm sorry to be critical of effects. It is 1990, but meh. Nice reveal seeing Pennywise's claws underneath his glove. I did like that. Beautiful nature shot as the camera pans back to the kids. It looks like a fine fishing hole, honestly. And the kids swearing scene, I liked. It finally felt like the camaraderie amongst them in their most natural form that I was looking for. So, yeah, that's the end of my set of scenes. I thought it was fine.
All right. Well, you guys have any fun facts? I'm saving all the fun facts that I had for the end of the night, too.
I was going to wait, too, because, like, I mean, it's a whole mini-series. I didn't want to read something, fun fact, that's part of the next set we're doing. So, and
that's why also, like, I'm not usually on the series, I give an episode rating, but since this is different, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give one rating at the end of it. So
yeah, I'll do the budget next week as well.
Cool. All right. Well, you guys want to jump in any social medias?
Yeah, I'll do Facebook. Mike, you want to do Instagram for us tonight?
Sure.
I'll do Facebook since Brian's not here.
All right.
All right. On Facebook, we got Chris Manley. He commented LFG with an exclamation mark with a balloon emoji and a clown emoji. Chris Manley is a fan, I think. So I'm glad we're reviewing it for you. Hope you tuned in, brother. Cheyenne Turner commented, 3 movies have genuinely scared my sister. Silence of the Lambs, When a Stranger Calls Back, and the OG It. We watched this on TV when it first aired, and it terrified us. Yeah, the new one, at least Chapter 1, is good, but Skarsgård, no disrespect, you are no Tim Curry. Okay. Okay.
Interesting.
I've got X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, pulled up, and Randy Smith, Go Dogs, said F yes, which he didn't say F. He typed it out, but I'm not going to say that. F yes, I know some of you will hate it, Nico, but this Tim Curry is my Pennywise. I remember seeing this at 5 years old, and it scared the poop out of me. I definitely understand that. Like, if you saw this as a kid, like you guys have said,
yeah, 100%.
It would freak you out. I have friends that still this day are afraid of clowns because of this. And then the other one we got was Andrew Ferguson said, I didn't have cable TV or ABC/Fox growing up, so my uncle taped this for me. He didn't record the first 20 minutes of night 2, so it was years before I saw that part. Absolutely love it and watch it yearly. Tim Curry should have won every primetime Emmy for his Pennywise. And then he also said, if you've never seen it, the behind-the-scenes documentary is available for free on the YouTube, and he linked it. So definitely be on the lookout. Yeah, go check that out. And then the last one we got was he didn't reply to, or he didn't send this on Twitter to us, but it's kind of like, what are the odds? Crazy coincidence. Friend of the show, Aaron Cabrera, just happened to tweet this evening or today, whose portrayal was better? Hard for me to choose, but I prefer Skarsgård's a little more. And then we texted about it, and I said, honestly, I don't know. They're very different, and both are very good. It's like comparing Heath Ledger's Joker to Jack Nicholson's.
Correct.
And then I said, I'll ask you guys. He said that's very true. Curry is more charming, and Bill's is more sinister to me. Bill matches more of what I think Pennywise is in the book. And he said, to me in the book, Pennywise is more sinister, trying to impersonate a human or a jolly clown, but doesn't do a good job. So what says you all?
I'll answer that next week. I want to see the whole thing first.
Okay.
I prefer the darker Skarsgård, but I really think that Curry does a great job. Like, it's not really an either or for me. It's a both for different reasons thing for me. I don't think that either one is poor. I think they both have their pros and they both have their cons. Now, I will say some of part 2, what they give Skarsgård to do in that movie that's really long and fleshed out, I think kind of weighs his down for me a little bit. But I still prefer that darker take because I think it's more interesting. But, it's by like a fucking nut hair, man.
Well, like you mentioned, Dustin, they're like totally different portrayals, so it's kind of hard to compare. It's like comparing like Richard Brooker to C.J. Graham as Jason. Like they're Jason, but they're very different, So,
But that's the reason I use Nicholson and Ledger because when The Dark Knight came out, everybody's like, oh my God, Heath Ledger is the best Joker ever. He was fantastic in that role, but it's not the same movie. Like, they're the same stories, Batman, Joker, Gotham City, but they are not the same character. These, to me, are not the same character. One was asked to do completely different things than the other.
And then Joaquin Phoenix, everybody says he's the best Joker or whatever. So, I mean, it's just –
and that
some
movie,
people do.
That movie is completely different because Joaquin Phoenix is not even the Joker.
Yeah.
If you watch the second one.
Arthur Fleck
He's
is
not the
just
Joker
a pussy.
that we're familiar
Anyway.
He was a troubled man. I love the first one, man. That's a great movie.
Yeah, the first one's good. I'm just messing around.
I didn't hate the second one as much as a lot of people did. I'll just be honest with you. I thought it was fine.
I haven't seen it.
Thought it was fine. All right, you guys have any final thoughts? I've got, since I did the SEMA scene, I got just a little bit. But
also, we got nothing on the gram.
I mean, this.
By the way.
Oh, yeah.
Unless my name is Stevie Wonder, I don't see anything.
No, I don't. We might not have got any comments. I'm not sure. Just off my first watch of the first half of the miniseries, I thought it was fine. Like, I definitely didn't hate it. But, I mean, and I'm being really critical of, like, effects. I mean, that's really not fair. But, I mean, by today's standards, they don't look good. So, but it's not like it's 2020 and they look bad. So, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I've been, as you guys know, I've been watching a lot of old movies this year. And so things that normally I would be bothered by, like, I think I've gotten over that. I can just watch something like, okay, what year did this come out? And I'm like, I can put myself in that mind state. So that didn't bother me. I stand by what I said. I think this is for that, we'll say 10-year window, 85 to 95. I mean, this is probably the best. I personally agree with you. Like, Pet Sematary has more nostalgia, and I think I enjoy it more. But as far as quality goes, I think the acting was all pretty good, especially for a miniseries that aired on TV.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one that I want to do eventually, Stephen King's miniseries, Rose Red. I think that was a good one. I'll pick it down the road maybe.
Have you guys seen the Shining miniseries?
I haven't.
It's more true to I'm going to pick it someday. How about that?
But as far as this goes, like I said, I liked it. I like that it's a flashback instead of telling the entire children's story and then the entire adult story. I like that it's interwoven. I know Nico hated that nonlinear storytelling. I get it.
Here we fucking go.
But and I also like I said, that it makes sense that we don't get so much time spent on the children because they're piecing it together as they go along and as they remember. And then last thing I got is just what a cast. You got John Boy from the Waltons. You got Ray from Sister playing adult Mike. You got Judge Harry T. Stone from Night Court. John Ritter, Seth Green. I mean, this is an all-star cast. This is a cast that would be incredibly expensive if you took actors that are similarly known in today's world and cast them in something. Like, this is a good cast. So
I mean, it did that. I mean, if you look at the 2017 and 2019 cast, especially
it was
the
expensive
adults.
Too. Yeah.
Bill Hader,
the
James
adults.
McAvoy, Jessica Chastain,
yeah, the adults.
Old Spice guy. Sorry, I can't remember his name.
Old Spice.
Who?
Old Spice guy. I can't remember his name.
That's funny. But I think it's really good, and it's hard to compare because they are very different. But for what this one was, it's really good.
Oh, I'm gonna throw this out there too. Whenever Welcome to Derry comes out, we should probably do that week by week as well.
Yeah, I think so.
When is
I
it?
think that'd be
releasing?
fun. I don't think that's till next year though.
Yeah, that's sooner than we think, though. I want to say it's this
It might
year.
be November.
Yeah,
I thought it was this year.
It might be November. I think it's definitely later in the year though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a good idea for the series, like big shows, off like big IPs. Like, I think it's a good idea to do that.
Yeah.
I said I mean, eventually the Friday the 13th one will come out. Like it's, but the Camp Crystal Lake, the other Friday the 13th one. I guess there's more than one. That's ridiculous. Anyway,
I can't wait for the Beau is Afraid series. I mean, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Not a big IP. We can wait on that.
Hey, if Parker Posey's in it, I'm down.
She'll always be my baby.
Damn.
Facts. I can't.
I'll always be my baby.
But we appreciate y'all tuning in. Any final thoughts, guys, before we get out of here?
We all float on this podcast, brother. And I don't mean floating boats. Sorry.
All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back next week to conclude the It miniseries.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody